Do you think this could be you in the future?
Do you remember what your first date was? What you guys did?
Went out on the hill and parked and looked at the town.
לזכור לך, זה אשתי הראשונה והאחרונה שהתחתנתי.
Well, modern dating and relationships nowadays are called modern and not traditional for a reason. The reason is that they are not usually built to last. Most modern relationships now are just two people or more having intercourse, and that's it. They're not solving problems together, they're not setting boundaries, they're not building a future together. They just exist, lie, cheat, manipulate, and have some other people into the relationship too, and so on. This goes without saying, but not every modern relationship is like that now. However, they are more casual than the relationships of the past. You as a man probably noticed this, but it's extremely difficult to find a woman nowadays, and especially a good woman, and it's really difficult to get matches on the modern online dating platforms, and it's even more difficult to just approach a woman and start up a conversation. But here's the twist. It's not the women's fault, it's your fault. You are the reason why you can't find a traditional woman, you are the reason why your girl leaves you, and you are the reason why you can't maintain a long-term relationship. Before you get mad at me, please watch till the end of this video, as I will explain why I say all of these things, as I've been through many and all forms of relationship throughout the years, and I think that I've learned a lot and have a lot to share, and also I am now finally in a healthy traditional relationship. So I want to talk about all of this. If you just want to have lots of sex with different women and you think that's okay, then this video is not for you and you can click off. But if you want something more meaningful in your life, if you are taking seriously about building the relationship, a long-term relationship with another human being and building an actual future, then welcome and let's get on with it. Everything in life has a purpose, and I believe the purpose of a relationship is to build a future together. You can have all the money, you can have all the strength and knowledge, but if you can't share all of it with another person, what's the point? A lot of modern relationships that happen nowadays are all about the present, about selfish desires and no future. You enjoy each other physically, you hang out, and you have this illusion that you're not alone, but if you're not working toward some goal or some goals for the relationship, when the problems come up, there will be less motivation to actually try to solve them, because why bother? You're not working toward anything. It's just easier to move on and break up or something. There is a reason why traditional long-term relationships last longer than casual dating nowadays. It's because of those classical goals of working for each other, marriage, and having children. Of course, I'm not saying that you need to think of your kid's name on the first date, but it is important to think about and talk about the goals of dating before the relationship starts, and if the relationship starts in the future. You need to have at least some trajectory for within the relationship where you're going for the relationship to last. Speaking of goals, if you don't have them, it can create this mentality that whenever you and your girl get mad at each other because some problems arise, and they will, then you just either get so mad at each other that you just don't talk and don't communicate and just let the resentment build up, or you just instantly leave each other and give up. You have to understand that when problems arise, you have to act like adults and talk with each other and notice when the problems come up and try to solve it. This might seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many people just end relationships because their ego gets in the way and they just expect the other person to just first notice the problems or first to apologize. Of course, there will be moments when the heat is too much and the emotions are running around and you need some time to cool down, but eventually you'll have to sit down with your girl and talk things through, talk about the problems and how to solve it. If you just give up on girls whenever you are faced with issues, then you'll end up just jumping from one girl to the next. And if you actually care about the girl, that doesn't matter if she was the reason for the conflict or you were the reason for the conflict. You need to take up the responsibility to gather both of you together and just talk about the problems. That's what strengthens the relationship. However, you will have a problem solving problems if you have lack of communication with your girl. Believe it or not, the beginning of solving an issue starts with talking, Crazy, I know. Just talk, just listen, and that's already half of the problems solved. If you get angry at each other and ignore each other's messages, or don't call each other, or act passive aggressive to each other when you meet in real life, then this resentment will just grow too big for a problem that could have been solved long before. Let's take a step back and look at the foundation of all the relationships, the virtues. If you start a relationship with a girl whose views and virtues are radically different than yours, then my man, the relationship will most likely not work out. While it is okay to have some differences between what activities you and your girl likes, what music you listen to, or what are your career options and future plans or something like that, when it comes to virtues and the foundation, there should be more similarities than differences. If you are seeking to build a family and have children and the girl doesn't want that, your foundations do not align. If you believe that it's okay to run around with different women and your woman wants a traditional monogamous relationship, your foundations do not align. If, as an example, she spends all of her time running around in clubs and getting drunk, and you are more of a person to sit at home or maybe spend some leisure time not in clubs and you're against alcohol, let's say, then your foundations do not align. Pretty much you need to talk about the main things and the virtues and the foundation on early dates before you see if you and her are compatible. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you can fix her or she can fix you or some BS like that. Sure, not everything will sit right with you or her, but the majority and major things in your life and her life should be aligned for a fruitful and healthy long-term relationship. Okay, this last reason for why modern relationships tend to fail is because of lack of sacrifices and boundaries. Nowadays, young people like me are all about themselves, like what will I get and will my wants be satisfied? This translates to modern relationships. It's all about yourself now. Sure, I'm not saying that you should enter a relationship out of a full-on sacrifice or that you should change fully for your partner. But what I am saying is that both of you will need to realize that there will be some sacrifices you will need to make and set some boundaries. For example, my girl is Turkish and we are in a long distance relationship, and because of money, visa and time things, I can visit her every couple of months for short periods of time. For our goals, we would want to get married someday in the future, but her being Turkish and me being where I am means that one of us will have to make a sacrifice and will have to leave their country of origin. I chose it to be me because I know how much her country means to her and how close she is to her family. Do I want to live in Turkey? Not necessarily, but I am willing to make this sacrifice for her. However, there are boundaries that I won't cross, like for example, choosing which city that we will live in. Maybe she wants to live in this city, I don't want to live in that city, and we compensate on that, we compromise, and we try to find a solution for that. This is just an example, and there are smaller or bigger sacrifices or boundaries to be set, but I think you get the point about what I'm trying to say, is that it's not all about you in the relationship. I talked about why most modern relationships nowadays fail, but I haven't touched upon why I think it's usually the man's fault for why this happens, as I said at the start of the video. And here's what I meant by that. It's solely your responsibility as a man to grow both physically and mentally strong to the point where you can find a good woman. Women don't usually come up to you and ask you out. It usually happens the other way around. So it's in your control to either be with a woman or not. If you start a relationship with a woman where you know that your virtues won't align, where you probably met on some circumstances like you got drunk one night and that's how you got together, or maybe she cheated on her boyfriend to be with you, then maybe don't be surprised when she cheats on you or has some other toxic traits. First, build yourself, improve alone, and once you're ready for a relationship, knowing exactly what you want from a relationship, then you can open yourself to that relationship and then actually attract a good woman. Most of us guys want a relationship and want to build a family, but how many of us are actually prepared for the responsibility and work that comes along with this? So before you go on blaming modern women or other reasons for why you are single, just think about if you are actually doing everything in your power to be a traditional man yourself and you're not just settling for modernity while preaching tradition. Become a good man and you will find a good woman. Thank you for watching.